everyone, it's Emma here, and this week I am answering the question, what should I do for constipation? So I'm just going to get straight into it rather than talk about the causes and things, which I'll do in a separate video blog. I'm just going to talk about trying to manage the symptoms and what you can do in terms of your diet and lifestyle and supplements. So first on my list is increase your water intake. Water is so important for almost every single system of your body, but especially digestion. And I think in a lot of cases in constipation, water intake could be improved. So when I say improved, it is helpful to try and track your water intake, and we're looking to consume between 1.5 and 2 litres of water daily. What I do also say is to try and stick to a minimum intake of just that plain still water. When we start to add in other flavouring, sugars, sweeteners, caffeine, even if you're drinking lots of tea and coffee, those can risk actually disturbing your digestion for a number of reasons in terms of the gut bacteria, igniting your stress response and so on. So I would say to try and stick to that minimum intake of water, and then over and above that you can have some warm drinks or other drinks that you would prefer. But usually the more water you drink, the less room you have for other drinks, so that water remains the priority. Number 2 is to prioritise fibrous foods, so foods that are rich in dietary fibre. So this often includes your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, and then certain specific foods can get quite a lot of attention for constipation, which is great, such as prunes and also prune juice. Again, these are really high fibre options. Avogel have a prune juice, which is a lovely organic option. It's from the company Biota, and I'll tag that in the description if anyone is wanting prune juice in particular. Another tip is to warm up the prune juice, and also your food in general. Try and keep it nice and warm. Warm foods are generally a bit more helpful on your digestion. They're gentler. Your body doesn't need to use any extra energy to warm it up, and your digestion can focus on what it needs to do. So that can be just another nice tip. Also, we get fibre supplements. So there's different types of fibre, including your soluble and your insoluble fibre. So there are different supplement options out there. What I would say is a little bit of a fibre supplement is okay, but don't go overboard, and you absolutely need to have your water intake sufficient if you're going to benefit from the fibre at all. Especially soluble fibre. Soluble fibre absorbs water, and if there's not enough water there, it will just potentially slow things down further, so we definitely don't want that. So water is a must, whether you're getting your fibre from your diet or supplementing a little bit as well. Another food group that's really important to consider when we're talking about supporting your digestion is bitter foods. So that includes a lot of your green leafy vegetables, your artichoke, your watercress, your rocket, options like that taste very bitter. Then if you're looking to go a step up, or you feel your digestion just needs a little bit of extra support, you can get your herbal bitter remedies such as yarrow, and you can just take this at the start of meals, 5 to 10 minutes before meals, in a small splash of water, and that tastes very bitter in your mouth. Nowadays in Western societies, we've lost a lot of the bitter elements of our diet. We have too many sweet and sugary elements, but it's the bitterness that your digestion really responds to. Even as early as having that exposure to bitterness in the mouth, your stomach kind of wakes up and starts to gently stimulate all your gastric secretions, so all that lovely stomach acid that we want to remain very strong. Also, when we talk about water, we actually don't want to drink too much liquid alongside our meals. The reason being that can risk diluting that lovely strong stomach acid. Stomach acid is so important for helping to break down our food properly and helping to support the balance of bacteria throughout the digestion, and both of these factors are really important for managing constipation and helping your food waste to continue efficiently through the gut. Okay, so moving on from foods, I'm just going to touch on exercise. I never like to go into too much detail in terms of specifics around exercise. It's not so much my area of expertise, but actually for me, I don't often believe that going to extremes or getting too overly obsessed with exercise is helpful. We need to kind of think about the balance in terms of the stress response and everything else, the toll it might be having on your body. So definitely moving more is often beneficial for constipation. The reason being, as we move, our circulation's improving, our muscles are gently relaxing and contracting, and that all encourages movement throughout your digestive tract. So muscles line your digestive tract and move in a special movement called peristalsis, and this helps to move food waste through your gut. So the more you're moving, the more that movement can gently massage your gut into action. Also, exercise is going to support your metabolism. So the more we move, the more our metabolism is supported. So you've also got thyroid considerations there as well. That's all linked to metabolism. So an underactive thyroid can often give rise to symptoms of constipation because everything just kind of slows down, including your digestive function. So this would be one to consider, whether or not you're on medication already. Supporting your thyroid to the best of your ability can be really important for managing constipation as well. So that's one to consider as we get older, as our metabolism starts to slow down as well. Another little practical tip for me is to go to the toilet when you need to. So it sounds silly, you might assume of course you do, but especially at this point in time, more people are starting to go back to work, more social events, things like that. If you're holding back from going to the toilet routinely, that could potentially scupper your digestive functions, and you could lose some of the ability and some of those urges to go to the toilet. Just like everything else, with sleep is the obvious one, but in terms of how you eat, your meal time and your digestion, everything in our body tends to work on a circadian rhythm. So quite often we find we need to go to the toilet first thing in the morning, for example. So if we start to kind of purposely influence that routine and throw it off, then potentially we could throw it all out of alignment, and that's when you might find that you realise you're not going to the toilet every day or when you used to. So just something to consider. Also in line with all that is the stress element as well. So whether you're stressed about going to the toilet or something else, it's just to keep in mind that stress does dampen down our digestion. It does have a negative effect on your digestion. So stress can also have an influence on digestive symptoms such as constipation. When I talked about the lovely strong stomach acid that we want to maintain, stress does have quite a direct effect on decreasing your stomach acid levels. So again, that's just something to consider as part of the overall picture, the kind of holistic approach to considering what different steps you could take potentially as a whole to alleviate your symptoms. Because again, every little helps. Just putting in these small, simple changes could potentially make a big difference. My final point is just to talk about quite constipation specific remedies. So whether that is a more natural remedy such as our Force. So Force contains your linseeds alongside herbs such as senna and fangula. So that's just one to consider. But whether or not it's a more natural remedy or a kind of conventional medication, for most remedies for constipation, we do recommend short-term use. If it's any medication, go to your doctor for advice, but that would be our advice for something like our Force. So it can be very helpful to use initially just to help get the bowel moving. Again, super important that you have it with lots of water. So it can be useful short term, but longer term we would want you to try and employ more of the diet and lifestyle tactics that I've spoken about throughout this blog. Something like your yarrow, your bitterness, that would be fine to include longer term. That's not quite as stimulating as the Force, so it's something that you could incorporate quite easily into your daily routine alongside your foods. So hopefully that helps around the supplement side of things. I'll also put a link to the Force in the description as well, but that one is a pharmacy only supplement now for that reason. Just we don't necessarily want people taking it routinely for very, very long periods of time. So hopefully that helps. Any questions, please feel free to ask and get in touch either through the YouTube comments or on our own website, Avogo. Also, please do subscribe to our Avogo YouTube channel and also hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of any new videos that we do. Thanks and speak soon.